Welcome back to the Daughters of the Moon podcast. Both Mom and I are super excited that you can join us for another week, and we're very excited. We are welcoming back Alejandra Brady with us. She was on episode 188 and 194, where we talked about Feng Shui, and the other one was Feng Shui for the holidays. And this time we're going to talk about Feng Shui with the new year, with being the horse and going into that. So we're super excited to have you back, Alejandra.
Oh, thank you. It is so fun to be back with you girls. I love spending time and chatting with you all, both of you.
Thank you.
Yes, well, we love spending time with you too, and you always have so much information for everybody to different tips and tricks and what it all kind of means going into it. So we're going to turn it over to you to tell us about Feng Shui in the year of the horse.
Oh, all right. Well, let's do this. First of all, I want you guys to know that if I'm looking at my papers, it is because I took a whole bunch of notes because I wanted to give you a lot of information. So this is a great episode that if you're listening to in the car while you're doing something, you might want to come back and take some notes if you're interested in feng shui and doing some rituals, some routines, different things that you can do to kind of optimize the year for you. But let's kind of start at the beginning. So for people that maybe don't know what feng shui is, I can do a really quick synopsis. It is using the environment around you to help you create a more auspicious, peaceful, beautiful life. And like you said, there are other episodes if you really want to dig deep into it to see that. I am certified in BTB Feng Shui, which is a more westernized approach to Feng Shui. And I think that's really important too, because another thing that happens a lot of times is people get very confused. And I get so many DMs with people saying, well, but I read this and I saw this. So what I tell everyone is if you're interested in Feng Shui, find a couple of people that speak to you, find a couple of books that speak to you, any way you want to do it. We all do everything through social media these days. Just follow a couple, see what kind of feng shui they practice, and I would say stick to that. Unless you're a practitioner like I am, I don't think that there is a lot of need to really dive into different schools and just get a little bit of here and a little bit of there and a little bit of somewhere else because you will end up confused. So, from my point of view, you're going to get BTB, which is a more westernized approach because most of my clients that I deal with, even though I do consultations throughout the world, have Western style homes. I don't do a lot as of now, right? Because you never know and you never want to say that you don't do it. But, I don't do a lot with homes that are not built in a Western style. This meaning the front door faces the front, the swimming pool's in the back, just a very what most of us would consider a basic home build. So, with that said, 2026 that we are going into is going to start an entire new cycle for us. It's going to be the new 9-year cycle. We are in a nine this year in 2025. It's been the year of the wood snake, and it has been a 9-year, and a nine energetically means completion, endings, full circle moments. And I'm sure if you think back on this year, I know that it has deeply affected our family. We've had a couple of people pass away who are very close to us. We've had some pretty serious illnesses. There's just been a lot that says completion and endings. And that, of course, always makes room for new beginnings. So next year is a one universal year. So it is all about new beginnings. It is about forward momentum. It is a global energetic reset, per se, into the beginning of another 9-year cycle. So it's also going to be the year through Chinese astrology of the fire horse. So every year energetically has an element that goes with it and an animal that goes with it. Like I mentioned, 2025 was a wood snake. Now we're coming up on a fire horse. So where the wood snake was about transformation and going inward, the horse, what does a horse do? It goes, right? I mean, it just takes off and goes. So it is the year of a lot of forward momentum. So that's wonderful. But it also means that you need to make sure that your momentum isn't chaotic and it isn't scattered and it is very intentional, that you're doing enough grounding so that you also don't burn out because of the fire element to everything. We were talking a little bit before we started recording, fire is an amazing gift. However, fire left out of control, we've seen what chaos that can cause as well, right? So we want to use the element of fire with a number 1 year to make a lot of forward momentum, but very intentional forward momentum without burning out, is basically what we're looking to accomplish next year. So, the key themes for a horse: speed and momentum, courage and independence. Things are going to move really quickly next year. Where this year you may have been, and we were talking about Mercury retrograde too, right? I mean, it felt like my November, I was stuck in quicksand. I mean, it was just like I could not get anything to go to save my life until very close to the end of November. It's going to be the opposite next year. If you get an idea or someone reaches out to you, like be ready. Be ready to go. Have your elevator pitch ready. Whatever it is that you are wanting to have happen, just be prepared and be ready because those opportunities are going to come in pretty quickly. And they're going to want answers. It's not a year to like mull it over and, well, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. They'll move on to the next person who's ready to go. So,
Yes.
yeah, just kind of keep that in the back of your head and have the courage. Know that the year is supporting that energy, right? So, having the courage to say yes when it feels aligned.
Hmm.
If it's not a hell no, then you have to know yourself and you have to know like if I'm even getting a tinge, we're looking at my husband asked me what I wanted for Christmas. I'm like, I don't really want another purse, another pair of shoes. I have so much. I in the nicest way. Like I have a lot of beautiful things. We just spent 2 weeks in Turkey last month in October. I have beautiful things. I'm like, let's go somewhere. Let's do something. And we started thinking about it last month and got nowhere. And suddenly I feel like now it's like little by little, like the pieces are coming together and things are moving and I'm getting answers. And I'm like, okay, I see what's happening. We're starting to move into the energy of the fire horse. So things will progress. Um, the fire horse doesn't actually start until February 17th because
Uh,
it is Lunar New Year,
mhm.
not our Western New Year that we all, celebrate as New Year's.
Yeah.
So you have until February 17th to get ready to welcome this new energy into your home, which to me is very, very helpful because I kind of need that reset in January to get the house really deep clean, to declutter, to do all those things to feel really ready for New Year and to welcome new things in. It's impossible to do that in the middle of the holidays. And the
Right.
last thing I want to do is try and break everything down. Sometimes we're not even here, the week before Christmas and New Year's. So you get a little break and you get January to kind of do all this. Um, what this means for people, it's a year where your decisions matter. It's a year where action beats perfection. Again, you don't want to just sit and stew about it till it seems perfect. You just want to roll with it. It's a year of bold moves. And as we talked about, it's a year where burnout, overcommitment, and scattered energy can be real risks to you as well. So, the core energies of a number 1 year, so people understand: new beginnings, leadership, self trust, fresh identity, planting seeds that are going to germinate over the next 9 years until we reach that nine again and it closes out the next cycle and we start again. Independence, taking calculated risks, and vision casting. And again, why this matters, it's a launch year. The 1 year says begin and the horse says go. So we got to be ready. How does BTB interpret all this in Feng Shui? So, what does this mean with Feng Shui? The horse is a fire element on its own, too. So, it's yang, it's active, it's a visible element. The universal 1 year, pure potential, clean slate, new Bagua activation, and we'll go through the Bagua, which is the tool that I use for your home and kind of give you some small activations you can do in each area. And again, as I've always said, if they've listened to this podcast or follow me on Instagram or whatever, do what you feel called to do. It doesn't mean you have to do something in every single space of your house or else it's wrong. Do one or two things. Let that sit, let that energy settle. If you're still not getting the results you are hoping for, then one of two things. You can tweak again some more, or you may be being redirected to something else that might be a better result in the end. Sometimes, those obstacles are actually really wonderful pivots that take us in different directions.
Mhm.
I think we talked about it the very first time I was on with you guys. I went from all of a sudden getting put in that neck brace, right? And what I saw as this huge obstacle was my pivot into this entire world. I would have never stopped long enough to study and get certified in Feng Shui if I hadn't had that surgery that came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and was forced to stop and pivot. So kind of pay attention if you are being blocked, if you feel like I'm doing all the things that she's telling me to do and nothing is happening or it's not happening the way I want. Sit with it for a minute and see why. Like what is the universe trying to tell you? Is maybe what you're asking for, maybe there's something way better. Maybe it's protecting you. Funny enough, we're just in Cappadocia in Turkey. And my number one thing to do there was to get on the hot air balloon. It's like the number one place in the entire world to go hot air ballooning.
Wow.
And we were there for 4 days, 3 mornings. And the 3 mornings that we were there were the only 3 mornings in the last several months that the hot air balloons didn't go up. They got canceled every single morning.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait. No.
So they got canceled the first morning, and I was like, it happens. We used to live in Sedona. It would happen. The wind shifts or
Yeah.
something can't land in a place. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. We got canceled the second morning. I looked at my husband. I go, it's not happening at all. He goes, well, there's still tomorrow. I'm like, this isn't happening. Something's going on energetically. We were going up as an entire tour because the balloon holds up to 32 people, I believe, and our balloon was going to take 23. So our entire tour was either going to go up and come down or no, I mean, we're going to. So it's really interesting. Some people were super upset, and I'm like, huh, that's interesting. What is that trying to tell me? So it's telling me that we were probably being protected from something.
Mhm.
Because, of course, the day we left, the next morning they went up. And they went up the day that we got there, but we got there later in the afternoon. So I'm like, that's just too weird. So I just learned to trust now. And then we went to some really cool pottery place, and there was a beautiful decanter that was just way too expensive. And my husband looked at me and goes, hey, we got balloon money. I'm like, oh, that's right. We've got balloon money. So I didn't get to go on the balloon, but I have the most gorgeous decanter that we hand carried home, that's handmade and signed by the person who fired it because it's pottery and it's just stunning and just beautiful. I'm like, well, pivoted,
Yeah.
so just kind of learn to see those things because people get super frustrated very easily. And I just want to hope that people understand that it is working. It's working for you. You just may not see how it's working for you. And who knows what could have happened if we went up in that balloon, right?
Yeah, that's
I
right.
mean, that's just too weird. I mean, there's 23 healers and no one went up because we're
Uh,
all healers. We all work in an energy section one way or another. So that was a lot of good juju that we all thought we're just going to float. And it was the opposite. We got grounded.
yeah.
So,
Exactly. And I'm glad that you said that because I think people do start to, when you're starting to try to align yourself with some of these practices, and I think when it's not going your way, people do
right.
kind of like, oh, why am I doing this wrong? So I love that you gave that message that, maybe it's just not in alignment for you. And yeah,
And try and see
says.
why, tweak it
Mhm.
and see why. And if you really are getting frustrated, I can do a consultation. Sometimes it just means you need a little extra help and we need to see what's going on underneath. But, yeah, people need to, because it is going to move so quickly. I just want people to not get frustrated and to understand, and to set themselves up for success. Get things done in your home, get things decluttered, get things in good shape so that these opportunities can come in and you feel ready and prepared to take them on when they do come in.
Mhm.
So the feng shui focus for this coming year is on four guas in particular. So when we're talking about a gua, I'm going to hold this up to the camera. And for people who cannot see this, who are just listening to us on audio, what we as BTB practitioners use as one of our tools, it's not our only tool, but it is certainly one of the tools that I love to use because it gives me so much information, is a Bagua map. And if you can't see us, picture a tic-tac-toe board with the 9 squares, and the bottom center square is going to line up with your front door. And, people are like, okay, I don't have a front door. I live in an apartment. It will line up with the door into the area that you have control over. So if you just have one room that you live in, the door to that room that you live in is what it's going to line up with. You can do this that's the beauty of the Bagua map, is it can go macro for your whole house and even your whole property, or it can go micro to your nightstand, to your bed.
Right.
So we are going to be looking mainly at career, which is going to be right inside your front door. Then opposite of career, at the very top center of the map, is fame and recognition. And the reason that's going to be so big this year is, again, the opportunities that are coming. And fame and recognition is the only area on the Bagua map that has fire as its element.
Well,
So that is all about how you are seen to the outside world. So not necessarily fame as in I want to be famous, but if you do, certainly work on this area. But how am I being perceived in business? How are people viewing me from the outside world in whatever way you are presenting yourself, whether it's work or volunteer, whatever that means to everybody, right? It's different for all of us. Helpful people and travel. So if we are standing at your front door in career, to the right of career is helpful people and travel, because opportunities are going to come. And of course, those opportunities are going to come from others. You cannot succeed in a vacuum. You need other people and others, helpful, literally helpful people to come
Right.
into your life to help you move forward. And always in the center is health. And that's going to be really important, because let's go back to the fact that we can burn ourselves out. So we need to make sure that we are also staying really grounded with ourselves during this next year so that we do not experience burnout and therefore, get sick. I know when I get burned out, I get sick immediately. The cough starts and then the cold comes and then I'm out for 3 or 4 days. Every time I'm exhausted, that's what happens. So I can tell if it's starting to come. I'm like, ooh, I got to pull in the reins a little bit and maybe lay low for one day so that I don't get to the point where I need to lay low for a week.
Right.
So everybody probably knows themselves and knows what that means to them. So
Mm.
how are we going to prepare for this? So energetically, you want to get really, really clear on your intentions for the year. The horse only runs where you're pointing it, right? You don't want it to go free for all. You want to clean up any loose ends from this year and from this previous cycle. So if you are still holding on to relationships that you just, are not working for you, that you need to let go of, if you're holding on to things, literal things that are not working for you, that are broken, that are chipped, we can go back to all the feng shui basics, get rid of all that stuff. You want to simplify, you want to declutter, and you want to make space for those new beginnings, because there's no way for new things to come in if there's no space for them to come into. You know, we were in what we call a show hole when there's nothing to watch, or when we're in the middle of watching something on TV and we finished a series, and this show came on Netflix that I just sat there, I swear to God, with my mouth open. It's called Hoarding for the Holidays or something like that. People that have thousands and thousands and thousands of Christmas decorations, and they just keep buying and buying and buying and buying, and they've filled up their bedrooms, their storage rooms, and they're building storage rooms to add all this stuff. And I just looked at Art, and he looked at me and goes, "What are you thinking?" I'm like, "I'm itching." It's like I can't, and nothing fills them. Like, they're never satisfied with it. And I'm like, wow, that is just amazing to me, that you just keep accumulating, but they don't even know what they have.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, you need to take stock of what you have. You need to tie up those loose ends, and you need to clear some space to invite something new in. It was just, you could see that these people in real life were stuck.
Mhm.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you could just, if anybody just wants to like be amazed, just watch the first episode. I couldn't even go past the first one. I'm like, this is too much for me. I'm gonna have PTSD, you know? But it is incredible. It is just incredible. And I just saw them through past the Christmas stuff and just saw what was underneath there since that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm like, they are so stuck.
Hmm.
They are so stuck. One of them was like, I work on Christmas all day, every day. I'm like, well, what else do you do? Like, this is just your hobby. Like, do you have a life? And I still live in my mom and dad's basement, but he owns $300,000 worth of Christmas decorations and he's 26. I'm like, where are you going? You know? So you've got to get rid of that stuff that you know is no longer going to work for you so you can make room for the new that's next year. Uh, Emotionally, expect rapid internal shifts. Practice grounding, breath work, centering, anything that gets you to sit still. You know, for me, it's hot yoga and meditation. That is what I love. I do breath work occasionally. It's not my favorite. It's almost too much for me sometimes. I don't know about you guys, but like it just becomes a little much. I love it when I'm up for it, but you want to do something like if that was what I had to do, I wouldn't do it because it's not sustainable.
Right.
The hot
So like
yoga and
for
the
my
meditation.
mom who loves to exercise, that would be her go-to, right?
The hot yoga, yeah.
Put that music up and get going with the exercising.
There you go. Yeah, you got to do whatever's going to work for you that you can maintain on a consistent basis because you're going to need it. And then, prepare to meet those opportunities. They're coming. Environmentally, creating the space and balancing the fire energy with water and with earth. Those are the two big ones, which goes back to the areas that we were talking about because water is right at your career area, right at your front door. The fire, again, is at the top. Earth is in the center. So you want to create that balance within your space to help you from feeling overwhelmed. And
Right.
then we can get to some really actionable tips. We can activate that fame and reputation area, which is at the top of the tic-tac-toe board. You can add candles, some warm lighting, red accents. Red is the color. Again, if you're not seeing us, every single gua has a color. Uh, People can go to I'm sure you'll link them to my website.
Mhm.
People can go to the website and download a free Bagua map so that they can work off it. They just print it out and then you'll have everything that we're talking about. And it's very easy because it's kind of hard to, do it all just audibly. But fire as fame and reputation is red. It's the fire element and the shape is pointy. It's a triangle. So each gua has a color, an element, and a shape. So that's why we can add the red accents. This is a great place for your awards, anything that you've accomplished. And if it aligns with your aesthetic, because I am an interior designer and I've been doing that for almost a quarter of a century, if and only if it aligns with your aesthetic, you can add a horse symbol here. If it does not go at all with your home, please don't do that. Find a different way. Add the candle, add the red, add whatever works intentionally, something with a pyramid triangular shape. Lots of different ways to get to the same thing. You can refresh your career gua. So back to the bottom again, right? So here you can add some movement because in Feng Shui, when there is movement, especially when as it relates to water, that is calling in abundance. So you can add a small water feature or a fountain if it makes sense. If not, you can have a piece of artwork that looks like that. Something else you can do, you can update your resume, like get those resumes ready, update your website, get your LinkedIn up to speed to be ready for the opportunities that are coming starting in February 17th, and into that week before. It really slowly starts coming in even the week before, just little trickle, but then the Lunar New Year is the big shift, and then it really goes into it. You can do affirmations. If affirmations are something that resonates with you, and if that's something that's very sustainable, you could say something like, my career flows easily with ease and alignment, something else. You can strengthen the center gua, so back to the health, which is in the middle. Keep it clutter free. Add grounding elements. The center area is an earth element. The color is yellow and the shape is square. And for some reason in Feng Shui, square means earth, which is counterintuitive. Everybody thinks, it would be round, but round is actually metal in Feng Shui. So square means earth. And I think that's because when you think of a square, if you think of a table that has, four legs, it feels very sturdy and stable, right? I mean, I don't know what they were thinking 5,000 years ago when this came about, but in my mind, if I think of a square, it feels stable and sturdy. So I'm assuming that was their thought process. And that's why it is earth energy, because it's heavy, it's stable, it's security, it feels nurturing, it's grounding, right? So you can add the grounding elements. So in Feng Shui, things that would represent the earth element would be ceramics, terracotta, earthy textures, really yummy textures. I love anything that's like, chenille and nubby and just, blankets with lots of texture on them. Uh, I love it because I don't have a lot of different colors. So to me, I bring in the textures to add those different layers. And then you can use a super simple, clear intention that resonates with you here. And you can work it that way. We can talk about helpful people. Helpful people actually is metal. So you can add metallic elements or white elements. The two colors for metal element areas in the Bagua map are white and gray, and the shape is round for both. So that's why you can add metallic. And in Feng Shui, pastel colors are also considered metallic colors. So, if white or gray doesn't work for you, but a silver, a metallic pink, or a pastel pink, or anything like that, pastel blue, those would all work because they are considered metallic colors. You can place a list of desired mentors, clients, or collaborators in this area. I like to write a little list out as if it's already happened. So I'll write a little note if I'm looking to work with someone or I want a particular, not necessarily a client by name because I wouldn't necessarily know what it is, but a particular kind of client. I write it all out as intentionally and as clear as I can. And then I will just say, thank you for bringing this person to me. This was a wonderful collaboration. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. And I date it. And it's fun to see. A lot of times it happens really quickly. I have one that's been in there for 3 years. It's about selling a company. So that's not going quite as fast as I had hoped. But, we get other benefits by still owning it. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's why we're not selling it yet, because it's going to be worth more money when the time does come to sell it. So, take it as it comes there. But the intention is already out in the universe. And I do have the intention of selling it for the perfect price at the perfect time. So clearly we haven't hit that yet, Uh, you know, um, you can also bring in wood energy into your home because fire is fed by wood. So fire, will help increase, or wood will help increase fire, right? It's on the creative cycle in Feng Shui. In Feng Shui, all plants are considered wood elements. You would think they're earth because they're in dirt.
Yeah,
And
glad
I've
you
had
said
this
that.
conversation with multiple teachers a million times, and they're like, honey, I don't know what to tell you. They are considered a wood element. So, and it is living, right? Like most
Right.
plants will, are coming up, right? There's a root system and then the plant grows out and up and it's thriving. So you want really beautiful, thriving plants to represent the wood energy throughout your home to help support the fire energy. Anything that's upward growth, the bamboo, tall plants. Green is also considered the wood color. So if a plant doesn't work, you can just use the color green. I just did the most gorgeous staircase for this just incredibly, incredibly beautiful home. And their staircase happened to be near their family gua. That's just kind of where it laid out in their home. And we picked out a runner for this staircase that looks like the wood of a tree, like tree bark, but it was green and white.
Ooh,
And it is,
Nice.
oh my God, it's stunning. And we have the color, which is green, and it looks like wood. And it's just like an art installation. It is so absolutely beautiful. My clients are quite private, so I don't know that I will be posting about it. And a lot of what I do doesn't get posted just because of the level of people that I work with, and that's fine. That is their prerogative. I always ask, and if they say yes, wonderful. If they say no, that's fine too. But
Yeah.
it is so gorgeous, and I'm like, we are reinforcing the wood element. So there's so many, a plant didn't work there. So I'm like, well, let's do a runner. Yeah, and it works. Um, the horse year loves super strong chi and energy at your front door. So back to basics. Clean, repair, refresh any hardware that needs it on the front door. Wipe that baby down. If it needs to be painted, get it repaired, get it stained. Whatever you need to do to get that front door in perfect working order. You don't want it sticking. That means that things will stick in your life. Make sure nothing is blocking the entry. You don't want to block opportunities. And personally, I like to invest in a new doormat every Lunar New Year. It just says new beginning. I don't get anything crazy. I go to Target and I get something cute. And that way I don't feel bad about replacing it once a year. And then I will donate my old one if it's still in decent shape, because I also just
Cool.
don't want to create garbage. So
Yeah.
I'll donate it. My housekeeper is wonderful and she sends everything to her country. And, you know, she's happy to take it. And that means someone else can benefit and I get a fresh one. So it works all the way around. You want
win-win.
to manage your fire intentionally. Fire is great when it's directed, not chaotic, as we've touched on. So you want to avoid overstimulating decor. You don't want to walk in and just have all your senses be set off at one point in time. You don't want candles everywhere either. Use them pretty sparingly and intentionally, which is interesting because other years it is said like, have them, but this year we want to kind of be intentional where we place them. And again, if it feels overwhelmed, if you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling burned out, then bring in some water element and bring in some earth to help tone that down. Crystals. You want to talk about some crystals that we can use next
Yes.
year?
Yes. Love the
All right.
crystals.
Uh, Carnelian, it's red, of course, but carnelian is also all about courage and creativity. I love carnelian. Black tourmaline, which I always have, I have them on either side of my front door in my pots because they are grounding and they're super protective. So that's just a good tip no matter what year it is. Citrine, crystal of wealth, right? But it's also yellow. Real citrine is yellow. When people show me that fake orange burnt with all the little tiny pieces, that's actually quartz that got sprayed or amethyst that got sprayed. Real citrine is a super, super pale yellow for the most part. I mean, they do have variations, of course, in color, but it's a beautiful crystal. And so that works for health. It works for abundance. It's confidence. So it's a great crystal to have around you. I have one up there in my office and I keep it in the wealth area of my office for all of the above, you know. And green aventurine is another great one. So that is fresh starts and growth.
I
So
love
those are
that.
great ones. You can, place them around the house. You can get small ones and do what I always do. My bra is always full of crystals. You can put them in your bra, you know. You can put them in your walls if you're renovating. I just did a house probably 2 weeks right before Thanksgiving, the week of Thanksgiving, where she's redoing her whole kitchen and area and she's like, when can we put the crystals in the wall? So we picked out what we wanted according to the Bago map and according to her intentions, and we went and dropped them in before they put the drywall up. So,
Oh,
so
nice.
many ways to work with crystals. It's so much fun. Rituals to welcome in the year. You can do space clearing. You can do an intention setting ceremony. You can do a candle activation in your fame and reputation area. I personally always do this one, the 27 item release or donation. 27 is just one of those numbers. Feng Shui loves 3, 6, and 9, and 3 times 9 is 27. So it's just a number that kind of gets things moving if you're feeling stuck. And this doesn't have to be just for Lunar New Year. This is anytime. If you're really feeling stuck and just nothing's happening, go rearrange your silverware drawer. You'll get to 27 in no time,
Yeah.
and it just moves things along.
Yeah, I was
Uh,
so excited when I heard that about the 27. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
that's an easy fix. I do it all the time. Like if I'm feeling super stuck, that is one thing that I do is I'll just move, whatever. Cup.
Has it helped?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad. I'm glad. Yeah. And then you can also, if you've downloaded the Bagua map, you can kind of map out your goals for each area of the Bagua too. I think that's kind of a cool one. And then just kind of see how things are going. Um, you can rearrange one space that feels stuck. Maybe just focus on one. What's feeling stuck? Is it love and relationships? What are the three big ones that people usually come to me for? I hardly have anyone, every once in a while, but I hardly have anyone that comes to me because everything's amazing. Usually it's because they're feeling like they've gone as far as they can go and could use some help. And it's usually, wealth, health, love, and relationships. But I tell everybody, you cannot have wealth again, as we were talking about earlier, in a vacuum. You need helpful people. So you still need to look at the map as an overall, and you need to look at your family area if you're talking about love and relationships. Everything works together.
Right.
So you can look at the map and go, okay, there's a lot of issues that went down this holiday season with my family. So go to the family gua, which is, okay, if you're looking at your front door, it is to the left and middle. So right above self-cultivation and knowledge. And, maybe do the 27 release from that area if that's possible, depending on what's going on in that gua and depending on clearly what you have in there. But you can just focus on one area and then let the dust settle from that and see if things shift. And if they don't, then you can pick the next area. Or if it's family again, then you can go from there to, well, what part of your family was causing the drama? Is it children and creativity? So you pop over to the other side of health above travel and helpful people and look at your children and creativity area. Is it a loved one? Is it a friend? Well, then maybe you're going to pop over to your love and relationships area and see what's going on in the top right hand side, of the bagua. So lots of different ways to work with it. And you can add lighting. Sometimes if things are feeling dark, add light, literally that easy, and that sometimes will bring a lot of clarity to a decision. I tell people this all the time. If you're stuck and feel very wishy-washy about decisions, clean the windows, clean your mirrors. You will see more clearly. Your windows are the eyes of your home. So if you need to see clearly, get those windows cleaned. Replace anything that's broken or energetically stagnant. I've had that conversation quite often now too, as you're bringing in your holiday decor, right? You need to clear it before you put it back out because it's been stagnant for a year, basement, attic, garage, wherever you keep it. So, and then just kind of think again, this is a year to think boldly, move intentionally, trust your inner fire. Your home's going to be your partner this year, so help it help you. To quote the Cuba Gooding line, from what was that movie? I love that movie with Tom Cruise. But it's like, help me, help you.
Yeah.
So Jerry Maguire, I knew it
Yeah.
would come to me. So help your house, help you, right? Because if your house is supporting you, then it gives you that calm and that oasis and that haven to come home to when it's been a very busy day or a hectic day, or to work out of. In my case, my husband and I both work out of our home. So it's very important that our home is always supporting us and not fighting us, right? So
Right.
you want to create that partner out of your home. And, Feng Shui helps to align your environment so that the momentum, the clarity, the expansion that the horse and the universal 1 year are going to bring, this year. So,
That is very exciting. I'm
right? I
see,
think
I
so
got I
too.
got just so everybody see I got like 10,000 notes.
Yeah. No, that's what I was saying. It's like it's a good one to go back to and listen to because if anybody's like me, I mainly listen to podcasts in the car, or if I'm walking or if I'm doing something like that, traveling. So I don't always have pen and paper ready, but this is just a fun one to come back to maybe with a little bit of pen and paper. Or, I mean, I know sometimes people take notes on the notes app on their phone. You can do that too, whatever
Right.
resonates with you. But I always try and give some simple, they're not basic, they're just simple because if we make anything super, super complicated, then people don't follow through and that's not the point of this. The point is to have the most amount of people use feng shui so that the most amount of people can benefit from it, right? I really want that to happen for people. And I'm toying with the idea, probably by the time this comes out, I'll know. Um, as we're talking off the air, our grandchild comes in late January, so I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off. But last year, I did personalized Lunar New Year consultations
Oh, cool.
all online, but people would give me their birth date, and then I would have very personal ones that are, just for them off your birth date as to what this year is going to mean for you. If if I'm not on baby duty and I can get that going, then that will be something to come back and check my Instagram for or my website for, where you can sign up and do it. I just don't know because it just depends on when this little munchkin shows up, and he's going to come first. So-
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you gave us so many tips that are so helpful. And I love that you keep it simple and that, because I feel like what you're offering to people is that there's so many things that we can do regardless of the income, regardless of where you live. These are just simple little things that we can do to make our house more beautiful, to, support us, and then work with our feng shui and things like that. So I think that's great. I was uh, interesting about the candles because I literally just put out double the candles that I had in my house. I'm like, oh, the ambiance. Now you said that. Now I'm gonna go take them.
Well, for now it's fine, and it's the holiday
Yeah,
season, so
yeah,
that's very
true.
appropriate. And we are also in winter, which is a more yin
Yeah,
time of year. So you put it out probably because you need to feel that fire
yes,
energy,
yeah,
So it makes perfect sense as to why you would have it. This is going into next year.
next year.
This is,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
which
fine.
is when this is going to air, right? I mean, full disclosure, we're taping this in December.
Yeah,
So, you know, that makes perfect sense what
yeah.
you're doing. That's intuitively dead on
Yeah.
right
But
now.
but that's nice to know that, okay, moving into this new lunar cycle, I want to remove some of those to, create this different energy for myself that I'm able to do. So I just thought I'd share that because
Oh, I love that.
just
No, yeah,
so
because you just
funny.
you just don't want it to burn out, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's literal fire. So, and then other things people can check for, especially since it is a year where you can burn out easily. Light bulbs. Make sure your light bulbs are all working. I know it sounds silly, but it happens all the time. People are saying, I'm so burnt out, and their lights are burnt out. Those front
Right.
door lights, the indoor lights, half a strip works, half a strip doesn't work. You want to make sure that all those things are taken care of before you go into the Lunar New Year. And then just some overall Lunar New Year tips. I clean out my refrigerator, I clean out my freezer, I clean out my pantry, and I am a Virgo. I am so diligent about this, and I still find expired stuff every time I do it.
You can,
It just happens, right? I mean, it just happens.
you,
Um, so you want to clean it out, and then again, also before the Lunar Year starts, you want to replenish. It's a great time to replenish spices. Think about when was the last time you used it? Is it stale? They go stale too. So then when you're cooking your food, are you adding something stale to your food? So I usually go through them. I buy a lot less now. I buy only what I know I'm going to use. I used to have like, I want everything, just in case I someday may need marjoram, or whatever it's like I've never used it. So buy only what you need and replenish it, and don't have anything that's stale going into the new year in general. Make sure that refrigerator is full of really good, nutritious food, just to again welcome in, calling in that abundance and calling in that saying to the universe, there's abundance here because your kitchen is always going to be, whether it's in the wealth gua or not, a real manifesting abundance point in your home. So
right.
you want to make sure it's always, super clean and stocked and ready to go to the best of your ability. And again, I don't think we talked about, I didn't say throw out everything you own and start over. It's all just small things. I think the only thing I said to get rid of was maybe the doormat and start over. It's all about, again, those intentional things. So it should be something that pretty much everyone can do. And for the most part, it's getting rid of stuff more than anything else. That's what
Yeah.
I find with my clients.
Wow.
It's going into, whether I'm in a $10 million house or a $500,000 house, almost everyone has stuff that they're holding on to that no longer resonates with them and they know it and they
Yeah.
still can't let it go.
Yeah.
So those are the conversations to have to really close out the 9 year. Give yourself the gift of letting those things go.
You bet. Yeah, good idea.
That is a very good idea. So can you tell everybody if they want to find your Bagua map, your cards, your book, you, they
Me,
find you?
you're gonna have a hard time finding me. No, I'm just kidding. Um, uh, Everything's at my website, so casashuilife.com. And everything's on there. So my consultations are on there, my book, products, which I don't have that many, the book, the card deck, the Bagua you can get for free. If you go to casashuilife.com, there is a link in there that just says, I can't remember if it says free Bagua map or click here to get your Bagua, but it's there. It's very easy. It's just a click and you can download that for free. My Instagram, Alejandra G. Brady, is usually where I live. It's too much for me to do all the socials. So I try and focus on Instagram. And that's where I get the majority of my, questions and DMs and people asking for consultations and all of that stuff.
Perfect. Well, it's been so fun having you back and so much information. My mind is just a little bit like, I'm going to have to go reread
Take it all
those notes.
in.
Yeah, as February is rolling in, I'm going to be like, okay, what do I need to do again?
Pull out your notes. Give me a call.
Exactly. So thank you so much for being with us. We really do appreciate it. Just for the followers, we're trying to set up a live after baby and things have settled down a little bit so then people could come on and ask you some
Sure. I
questions
would love
right
that.
about it. So about their particular stuff. So if you had a final word for everybody, what would it be?
I would say I think it's going to be a great year. I'm really, really looking forward to next year. I'm super excited. I think we're all going to have so many opportunities, so many new beginnings. Our year's going to start with a baby coming into the world. So I mean, you can't get more new beginning than that, right? We're going to be official grandparents. Um, I just think it's going to be a great year. I have not talked to one person who has not said 2025 was not one of the more challenging years that they've had.
Mhm.
So just know that this too shall pass and we're in for a lighter year next year. So don't give up hope. Just get yourself ready so that you are ready for those opportunities that are coming your way.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining us. We really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Of
And
course.
everybody else, you can tune in next time and we'd love to have you
You bet.
Mwah. Love to you both. Bye.
back. Bye.
Bye.